iSARMs.com, the #1 place to learn about SARMs online.
I want to move on to today's topic, and what I want to discuss with you today are the very best anabolics for power and strength. And I know this is going to appeal to so many. So I'm just going to jump right into it and just kind of touch on which compounds are the best for power and strength, and tell you, why this is, and just throw some facts at you about each one. So let's move forward. I'm going to actually start with one that you might not pop to your mind immediately, but that one is testosterone suspension. Test is always the best. That's right. It's the backbone of a cycle. But the inclusion of some form of test in a strength cycle is key. It's just absolutely key. It's essential for optimal gains. You always want test in every cycle. That's a no-brainer. Testosterone suspension is extremely fast acting, and you're just getting a pure shot of 100% testosterone. Now, it's much more difficult to cycle, and it's a little bit harder to use. This is more so for pre-workouts, things of that nature. So right before you're about to do a huge power lift, half an hour to an hour before, that's when you would want to inject testosterone suspension, but you don't want to run it every single day on a straight cycle. That is not recommended whatsoever. It's kind of a painful injection too. It tends to linger for quite some time, and it will notch you up at times. It just depends. It can be extremely thick. I've seen veteran grade testosterone suspension that actually required an 18 gauge needle. It was like a harpoon. It just makes me absolutely cringe thinking about, sticking a needle that size in you. And I'm not saying that they all do. I've just seen like actual veteran grade, there's other ways to get it, etc., which I'm not going to get into, but in some shape or form or another, it can be, injected properly with the 23 or 25. However, chances are it's going to hurt, a lot later on. There's definitely going to be some pain there, and it keeps unstable blood levels, etc. But we're talking about what's the strongest and brings the most strength and power, and testosterone suspension is right at the top of the list. So, 100 to 150 milligrams per day is perfect. You can break it up into 2 shots for even better results, but that's the standard dosing on that. So I want to move on to the next compound, which I'm sure came to mind for many of you, and that's anadrol. Anadrol is called A-bombs for a reason, okay? Seriously, there's a major reason why, because this is one of the strongest compounds that you can absolutely take. Now, the funny thing is that it's actually a derivative of a DHT. There's been some changes to the structure to, make it what it is on how it is with size, but it's actually a DHT derivative, and a lot of people don't know that. This is probably the top drug of choice in like powerlifting and strongman circles and people that compete like in those type of things. The strength gains are really, really fast. I've seen people gain 20, 25 pounds on anadrol, no joke. And it's a lot cleaner than a D-ball gain. It's just so harsh, and it's so strong. It's very, very harsh. And it brings on a lot of side effects, and it can really, jack up your red blood cell count, and that's going to lead to increased pumps, and sometimes they can be quite painful, but it can lead to, more training endurance as well. So it's going to make your power gear, like your bench shirt, fit just a little bit tighter on you. So you're going to gain some serious size on this. Now, you can run at 50 to 100 milligrams a day. It's hard because I recommend the 100 milligrams a day only to more of a veteran user. I see some guys that aren't quite as experienced using it, and some can get away with it, but most can't. So just because you see somebody get away with it, it doesn't mean you're gonna. Okay, and understand that it's very strong and powerful. You got to protect yourself at all times with a cycle protectant, and you just really need to watch it. It can do such a number on you internally due to the toxicity. Liver, kidneys, those are going to take a nasty hit. Blood pressure, triglycerides, lipids, every value is going to take a hit with anadrol. So just be careful with it. But 4 weeks max, 50 to 100 milligrams a day on that. Next, I feel is just one of the meanest steroids out there, and one that part of the facts here are the aggression that it causes that bring on that strength and intensity. And I know that a lot of you know where I'm going with this, and that's halotestin. It really doesn't have the following that a lot of other compounds do, and that's for a few reasons. It's mostly in the underground scene, so getting your hands on like real legitimate pharmaceutical grade halo and enough of it to make it worthwhile is not as common, but it's possible. If you do find the quality and the right kind, oh boy, I'm talking serious. You have to be careful. If you have an aggressive personality, or you're known to, just overreact and have a hot head, this is not for you. It's just not. And it's very, very toxic as well. So you have to be very careful about the side effects. It's very toxic. But man, it acts fast. And the strength gains, to me, they're right on par, if not better than Anadrol. I am not exaggerating. And anybody that's taken Halo knows this. Absolutely knows this. I know firsthand. I know. Okay, and it's no joke. It is just like rocket fuel, the way that it makes you feel. There's no water retention. It makes you hard as nails, but it's not going to gain any size. You're not going to gain any size with it, okay, at all. But if you're prepping for a contest, this thing is like something being carved out of ice, what it can do to you. If you're in the right condition, if you're not in the right condition, it's not going to do that. So don't think you're going to take it and like lose weight or look like this like sculpture. No. You need to already be there. But man, if you're there, take Halo with Master on and S4. Watch what happens. Whew. I'm talking sculpture-esque, and I'm talking mean. So this is so perfect to get ready for something that requires aggressiveness, explosiveness, powerlifting, MMA fight, boxing, those type of things where you got to be aggressive and just explosive. So moving on. Now, another one that probably many of you were wondering, why hasn't he brought this up yet? Obviously, Tren. Now, Tren is probably one of the most popular steroids there is in any sort of strength sport, and that's for a lot of reasons. It's 3 more times androgenic than testosterone, so you can understand that it's extremely potent. With an androgenic ratio like it has, it's a gold mine for anybody that's a strength athlete that's looking to really increase their output of power. And it doesn't aromatize at all, so you're not going to get water retention like you might with something like D-bol or Anadrol. Even though Anadrol doesn't aromatize, it still holds water. You're going to pack on some really nice, lean, dense muscle, and your strength gains are just going to be spot on and just very, very hard. If you're taking, Tren, I don't recommend going over 400 milligrams a week. It's unnecessary. You don't need to go any higher to get this type of thing. 400 is perfect for this type of goal and what you're after. It's absolutely perfect. I don't see the need nor have any desire to ever go any higher than that, because that's when you start getting the side effects that you don't want. You're going to still see them at 400, but not anything like you're going to as you go higher in dosing. So just keep that in mind. Tren can be such a good friend or a terrible enemy. The sides, are there. Okay, night sweats, toxicity can really impair your kidney function, and it can just crush your sex drive. And with the prolactin increases, if you're not controlling it, you're going to suffer from insomnia. You could have severe mood changes. There's a lot here. So you have to be so careful with Tren. For power and strength, you're going to notice everything's really toxic and dangerous as opposed to other things, because you need something stronger, and the stronger a compound is, by rule of thumb, it's going to be far more harsh. DECA's a great one, but that is not making my top 5 list. I just want to bring that up, that DECA's right there after what I'm going to talk about next. Check drops. Now, check drops I don't recommend anybody touching these. They're just so dangerous. It's a vet drug that was actually created to alter the ovulating cycle of female dogs, and that was to keep them from going into heat. So it's a well-known pre-contest compound. A lot of guys use it because of the aggressiveness and the aggression and the strength, but it is so dangerous and it is so harsh. Aggression is a key and common needed attribute, okay, when you're doing any sort of strength competition. So this is why it fits the list. It doesn't mean I'm saying to use it, okay? Just keep that in mind with everything. I'm just giving you the list and telling you what to worry about and what to watch for. A lot of MMA fighters use this, a lot of boxers, but it's just very, very harsh. There's so many things to worry about, and it's something that you can't even take more than a week or two. Between the toxicity and the way that it just ruins your like moods and puts you into this funk, and it can really hurt you in the long term. So you just need to be aware of that. Be very, very careful with this, please, if you decide to ever use it. I would much rather see somebody use DECA, which leads to a ton of strength. And DECA can be very clean if you run it right. If you run DECA right at the proper dose, nothing over 400 milligrams, more like 3 to 350. You've got your caber going. You got other things to go with it. DECA's awesome, absolutely awesome. It could do so much more for you than check drops. But I'm giving you the top 5 strongest, and check drops is flat out just stronger in this regard than DECA. And I'm not gonna not give the proper information on it, but I am gonna tell you that DECA is a better option. That being said, that's your best steroids for strength and power. That's the list. I don't necessarily recommend them, as I said, but if you're looking for that, extra boost, that's what you're looking for. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.
iSARMs.com, the #1 place to learn about SARMs online.